conversation. So now I'd like to give it to Peggy, please.
Hi, everybody. I'm Peggy Jewell. I am your Director of Strategic Alliance. And Carrie, you're not the incoming president-elect. You are the president-elect. It's July 2nd, people. Our year has started. I want to introduce a fun activity, and I know that most of you are going to know him, so I'm not going to go into a big introduction. I'm going to give you my personal introduction. Peyton Vincent from CEG Interactive is one of our leading suppliers and creatives when it comes to what's happening with virtual photo booths, green screen. I've had the pleasure of working with Peyton for years, and it is always professional. I never have to worry about anything. And Peyton's gonna do a fun activity with us with a new digital virtual photo booth. So I'm gonna turn it over to Peyton.
Mute. There we go. Can you hear me now? Always off to a strong start there. All right. So yeah, just again to introduce myself, I've been focused primarily on photo booths here in San Diego and around the rest of the country for the last 12 years. We've done just dozens and dozens of different types of concepts. One of the first companies to do slow motion, 360 photo booths, multi-camera stuff, and worked for tons of large brands all over the place, large sporting events like Pac-12. But we got blindsided just like everyone else did 3 months ago. And since we are not diversified into other businesses, we had to somehow make photo booths work for us. So we've come out with a couple different virtual photo booth platforms that have really allowed us to bridge the gap between not being able to have in-person events and doing a lot of things. It's funny, we've pivoted from going from doing 30 things in only one town primarily to now we do one thing, but we're doing it all over the country because we don't have to buy airline tickets and hotel rooms and the like. So we get to manage it all here from San Diego, which has been really interesting. But virtual photo booth, in a nutshell, comes in a couple different forms. It pretty much employs the use of a common event gallery that's created from all the photos that are submitted. It adds an event branded artwork frame around the photos. And then you can also do just like a kind of a Zoom background, but a higher quality version. It's an artificial intelligence based digital background substitution. So we have two basic forms. The simplest one is a text message based system. And that's great for a lot of the fundraisers that we do where maybe they don't want people to move away into a different full screen experience on their phone or their computers. You can see here, this is a simple photo taken, text it to a certain number, and in less than a minute, the system's going to do the backgrounds removal, add a frame, and send it back to you in no time at all. So you can see that number there, and I'll post that number up again later. That's actually set up for San Diego Yacht Club, so they're doing an Independence Day little thing. So people on and around their boats on the water, they can send a selfie to that number, and it creates a nice Happy Independence Day branded photo back to them. You can see a quick little example of that on the screen here. I just basically text the photo. Like I said, less than 30 seconds later, it's shooting you back this really cool photo. We're not doing the magic background for this particular event just because people are probably going to be on the water and beautiful scenery, but should be a really fun thing. We're looking forward to seeing how it goes this weekend. There's my wife and the three boys right there. Magic background feature. Again, this is really not something that we developed in-house, but it's a really amazing technology that just luckily came out earlier this year, and we were able to integrate it on the back end of our system. It just the timing couldn't be better for taking people right out of their living rooms, wherever they are, and getting them into a cohesive looking environment that people can really be transformed out of their houses or wherever they are and make all the photos look like they came from one place. Just to go through here real quickly, this is the one that I actually set up special for the MPI group today. If you guys can see this QR code over to the right side of the screen here, and this will work on Android phones and iPhones. If you just open up your phone, go into the camera app and point it at that QR code right there on the screen, if it's large enough for you, it's going to give you a little notification right at the top of the screen. You just tap on it and it's going to take you right into a full screen photo booth experience that allows you to take GIFs, boomerangs, and I've even added a really cool animated red, white, and blue firework overlay. So you can take a single still photo, click that first overlay option, and you'll have red, white, and blue fireworks going off over your head. You can download it right to your phone, and it's just a great piece to share on Instagram. And we're also creating a common gallery that will be shared for these. Like I said, we're doing events literally all over the world, have been for the last 3 months here. We're doing the Stevie Awards, which is like an American Business Awards, but they have constituents in Germany, Asia, and all these things are set up to be cross-platform and totally compatible across all borders. Really strong analytics on the back end allows us to capture data, do surveys, do contests. We can even create digital photo mosaic walls, which is a really neat thing for really large events where all the photos can feed in to one common design, and you can deliver that either as a digital piece or even have it printed at a high quality print shop and something that could go on the wall at a company headquarters, what have you. Tons of features. I would love to start a conversation with anyone that's interested in learning more about this technology. And we like to consider ourselves one of the leaders in the pack. We're right at the top of Google, and we're getting just hundreds and hundreds of leads on a monthly basis for this, and doing a lot of really fun projects, and would love to partner with you guys. So here's that QR code again if you want to get one more scan at it, but we'll also try and disseminate this information later. If you guys have any questions, I invite you to reach out, and I'd love to hear more.
Awesome. Thank you, Peyton. Peyton will also be joining us at the meeting that we're having towards the end of July, talking more about virtual world and entertainment and how to incorporate an activity like this. So thank you for joining us today, Peyton. And I totally figured it out. I'm really proud of myself. I just
right on. Yeah, definitely try that firework one. I wish I could stay for the duration today, but I actually have to run the kids off to swim practice today. So
no, go be a good dad. Awesome. Thank you.
And I also look forward to catching up with everyone later this month. But I hope everyone has a great holiday.
Thanks, Peyton.
Thanks, guys.
Tina Marie, what's next?
Well, Peggy,
Oh,
I know Peggy's going to say thank you to our wonderful sponsors.
I hope so many of you were able to join us a couple of weeks ago for our Galen installation. We did it digitally, and we had so much fun. And there's a few people that we want to thank in particular. And I think Tracy's on our call today. The Cohen Restaurant Group, we did a pre-show, and the Cohen Restaurant Group created an amazing meal. I got to tell you, my husband was so excited that I went and picked up food from C180. We were able to pick up the food from Snake Oil Cocktail, and he welcomed not eating my cooking. The food was wonderful, and their amazing chef from C180 did a pre-recorded presentation and showed us how he made that incredible food. Snake Oil Cocktail made a refreshing late spring, early summer adult beverage for us all. Their master mixologist, Frankie, showed us how to muddle our strawberries and add in that vodka and just have a great, great drink. And then at the 11th hour, we realized we had a little bit of time to kill. Sebastian the magician came and did a virtual illusion segment for us. The art of illusion transfers well in the digital world. And when you have a master magician like Sebastian, you're sure to astonish your guests. Sebastian came in again at the 11th hour, and we can't thank him enough. The gala and the installation show couldn't have happened without the following suppliers and creatives. Voiced by Duffy. I know so many of you know Duffy Fainer. Duffy's voice is so melodic and commanding, and you know immediately when it's Duffy doing your voice of God or hosting your show. Duffy pre-recorded most of our announcements and the introductions for the show. Stephen Foster, CMP from Foster and Fathom, out of Grapevine, Texas. Stephen was our keynote. The past 3 years, our board leaders have had a special place in their heart with Stephen. So it was meaningful and natural for us to ask Stephen to provide the inspiring talk, thanking our board and giving great words to us to inspire us as we move forward in a really difficult yet hopeful time. Stephen Foster is a professional speaker, MPI facilitator, and a big part of his company, Foster and Fathom, creates meaningful and creative team building events throughout the country. We did a segment in the middle with some of San Diego's most beloved musicians and singers. We did Lean On Me, and I just want to thank those singers very quickly. Our own Tina Marie Honor, that was awesome. Kenny Ard, the beloved Anthony Bellata, Sam Hosking, Kimmy Terrell from Sensation Show Band and Polyester Express, our own Armando from Encore, Danielle Tucker, and Darrell Anthony from the Mighty Untouchables. We can't thank you again. I've listened to it several times, and it's just a beautiful rendition of Lean On Me. And last but not least, we could not have done our gala the way that we had hoped and dreamed to do without Virtual Event Collective. Owners Armando Cepeda, planner Jen Singer, and designer Jillian Ziska, who many of you know from To Be Designed, have created a professional studio in the downtown area. They did quite a bit of pre-recording for us and live studio production to help our gala run smooth, feel like a show, and honor our outgoing and incoming board. If you have clients that want to do definitely a step above your normal Zoom and have great audio, great production value, set design, there's not a better team than VEC, and we're so grateful from MPI that you produced our gala and installation. And no offense, I do hope next year we can all meet live, but if we can't, we know who to call. So I will turn it back over to you, Tina Marie and Iwana.
Thank you, Peggy. I will let Tina go ahead and take the lead.
Awesome, thank you. So as you all know, when you registered, there were 3 questions on there, and we just want to take a moment to say thank you for responding to those questions first and foremost. For me, I have a problem responding to questions that at registration when they are kind of hard to process. And we have been doing this for going on our fourth month. And it's been a super trying time, and I would not have been able to get through this without MPI. MPI, and of course my Live Nation family. So I just want to put up some of the responses that came through from that very first question, because we, oh, there we go.
So as Tina Marie is bringing this up, the 3 questions, then go ahead, Tina.
Yeah, so some of the responses that came through that were kind of on trend were, if everything's uncertain, there's some extreme guidelines coming through, everyone postponed their live events, the sales were slow, I feel negative about it, working from home, it's a totally new environment, and so on and so forth. And so as we're kind of working through these times, I have some of our colleagues here who have actually been open or have recently opened that are going to kind of give a little bit of feedback on how it's been going from them. And then feel free to drop any questions in the chat, and we can go ahead and address that with them as well as we go through this. So the first person I wanted to introduce, she's actually my neighbor down by House of Blues. Her name is Erica, and she is part of Courtyard Marriott. So Erica, are you there? There you are.
Hi.
Awesome. So we wanted to just get some feedback on how's it going at the Courtyard Marriott, guest experience, your experience, and so on and so forth.
Yeah, so we've actually been very fortunate that we've stayed open through all of this. I'm actually in the office. This is my office, guys. And I feel like we were really starting to see an actual uptick in business. I was able to bring back a member of my sales team this week, which was huge for limited hours. And everything was kind of getting to a point where I couldn't do all of it by myself. And last week it was getting busy. And then I feel like this week, though, unfortunately, we really saw with all the closures coming in that it kind of has started to decrease a little bit again. We've definitely seen our weekends picking up once they open leisure travel. But for the first time, it's really sad this week. We started seeing more cancellations than we saw bookings for the first time in a few weeks. So I think with things starting to shut down again, it is getting tough again. I mean, it never got easy per se, but there have been some positives. We've been receiving leads, little leads, but it just changes every day. You just kind of have to roll with it.
Thank you, Erica. I appreciate it.
Yeah, very much. And then, so kind of speaking on that travel piece of it, we have some members of, or some staff from San Diego Tourism Authority, and I know Annie is in the house, and she was willing to offer up some insight as well. If you want to take the mic.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely been pretty difficult for us. Obviously, we had to lay off or furlough several team members at the beginning. However, fortunately, we were able to bring back a lot of our sales team right now. So we're kind of working on keeping the relationships with all of our clients. Because, you know, one of the things that we found is that the clients aren't, you know, they don't want to be sold at right now. They don't want to be harassed and with everything that they're having to go through. So we're really there to just be there for our clients and to answer any questions, which a lot of the questions we don't have answers to yet, which is really frustrating. So until we get some answers from the government and from, you know, the local government and state government, as far as the amount of people that can be held in a meeting, it's really hard right now. And I mean, we're just kind of banking on the fact that, you know, 2021, 2022, they'll be able to be meetings. It's just this short term, which is difficult for me because I have the small market. So I handle 10 to 35 rooms, and a lot of that is a short term booking. So usually within 6 months. So nothing's booking in the next 6 months, that's for sure. People are trying to, but we just can't, you know, we don't know when hotels are going to be able to host groups. So it's been difficult. It's the other challenges, knowing what hotels are open, what hotels are closed, trying to keep up with the sales teams at all of the hotels. It's changing every week. So hopefully we can, you know, keep on track of that.
Thank you so much, Annie. I see that we have Margie as well here in the house. Margie, do you like to add some things for us about the travel industry and something new, and maybe talk about what support SDTA can offer to our colleagues here? I know there is a website, and we'll definitely share that website with to the members of SDTA, excuse me. So I'll leave it to you, Margie.
Well, thank you very much. It's good to see all of you. I was kind of just a surprise. I thought I want to see what you were going to tell me. So I wasn't sure that I would have a speaking role. But first of all, I hope everyone is doing well and safe. Crazy times, which is an understatement of life. But as Annie said so well, we are just working so hard to keep the relationships with all of our customers strong, so that when we do get some guidance from the governor and from the local county, that we will be prepared. I would urge you all, if you haven't done so, to go to our website to see the safety pledge that we have and the health and safety programs that we put in place, not only for all of our entities that are part of the SDTA and for the city, but also for the traveler. It's a safety pledge for the traveler coming in. I think right now our biggest problem will be, I mean, it's one thing to say, okay, now we can have gatherings and we're prepared for that. Then I think it's another thing to say to the planners and of all of you, okay, it's okay to have a meeting, but then you all have to deal with, will your attendees actually feel safe to go? So to some degree, I think we need to start talking to the potential attendee about what San Diego is doing to be safe, secure, healthy, and sanitized. So that information is on our website. We're going to start a campaign for our group to get that communication out so the planners have that for their attendees, so that when the moment comes that the green light is given, that we'll be prepared to do that. And for all of you who are members of the SDTA, I have a plea. So would you all go into your Simple View site, because we have created a very easy way for you to communicate with us of what you have open. If you're a hotel, a restaurant, a venue, attraction, a provider, just what your services are so that we can go to one place and find out what's open and what's going on so that we can communicate that with our planners and keep in touch easier with you if we know that you're open and serving our guests. So just like you, we're waiting for the green light and we are ready to go. The one good news I will tell you, although we were all excited the week before last, and then as this week has changed things again, we were going to open our office next week and decided yesterday not to do that. Mixed messages about should you be out, should you be home? We're as confused as the rest of the world. But I'll tell you that we fell apart when it came to leads in May. And for all the obvious reasons, our June has doubled already. So we're hoping that that's a continual tick up as we see planners getting ready to make their meetings happen. And we're thinking not a lot's going to happen to the end of this year, but come January and for sure the second quarter, if this isn't over by then, I mean, get that damn vaccine, everybody. But we'll be ready to go.
Thank you, Margie. We really appreciate, jumping in here.
Thank you for inviting me.
Yeah, definitely. Actually, it's interesting because I'm going to take away the conversation here. The Birch Aquarium, I represent the Birch Aquarium, and we are an aquarium here in San Diego, an attraction or a nonprofit museum, indoor, outdoor, so multiple things, and also a event venue. So we had a lot of guidance from the community and from the state to go ahead and reopen, and from the university. So yesterday was our first day of reopening. So I want to tell everybody, it was the scariest thing that anybody could live through. And because you have all the safety protocols for your teams and also for the guests coming in. So you want to make sure that everybody that comes through, and you say, okay, well, how did you start about that? And I think the number one thing in reopening a business, it doesn't matter what platform, you have to start putting together a safety plan. And I know some of you from Amy, Amy has been working on a safety plan for weddings and events, private events, and other people. And it's crucial for the reopening and working together on how you're going to safely do that. In terms of events, the aquarium, we have not looked at that because I don't see that coming on board anytime soon. But this leads me to pivoting a little bit more to a virtual standpoint. And one of the questions is how can, what do you need from us? And some of the conversations, that feedback we received is about how do we go to virtual events, right? And Nathan mentioned at the beginning of the conversation, what is the digital certification? How is that going to help me turn my business into a next level of virtual? I know Armando, he did a wonderful job for us at our gala, and he transformed his business into a live virtual platform. And we also have Nathan from Vario Production here on the call, and I know him and Tim Albaum, they've been working really hard in doing that platform. So I'm going to let him talk in just a minute, but one more thing I want to add about virtual events here at the Birch Aquarium. One of the things that we're pivoting to is bringing the aquarium to you. So instead of doing events and coming to the aquarium and enjoying the beautiful view and the fish and your favorite seahorse, we're bringing it to you. We have 30 minutes to 15 minutes to an hour, depending on the conference, as a breakout session. So that's how we're looking at pivoting events here at the aquarium and this where we are now. We are going to be sharing some links and to support everything we discussed today, and with an email from MPI that's going to hopefully help everyone. But we are here to work together and creating a community of questions and supporting each other, because I think everybody from top down or bottom up, we're all in the same together. So Nathan, are you here somewhere? I don't see you on my screen.
I am here.
All right, can you talk a little bit about how you guys pivoted in that virtual space?
Yeah, I mean, it was pretty tough. I mean, from the standpoint of us with clients, when we're doing live shows, we are recording and we are broadcasting out. but now having to add this third element in where there is no live portion, everything is virtual, and how do we continue to display those interactions and that engagement with the presenters that you can when you're all in the same room, but now having to do it based on a platform, which we were never really providing before, an actual website platform for the attendees to experience the event. You know, we were providing the production company, all the testing, rehearsals, everything you would see at a live event, as well as how we were delivering the content, but we were never providing the end user experience as far as an actual platform. So it was almost like I had to relearn how to, like, I don't know, am I going to even remember how to sell a live event now going back in? Because I'm not doing any production. We're doing all content delivery and website and functionality and things like that. But I think that it was a quick pivot where we had to bring on a web developer, and we created a couple really good partnerships with some site selection companies, which was, you know, twofolds on our end, getting clients in the door, and on their end, giving them the ability to gain commission on something. So we were really able to create some really good partnerships. And now moving forward, once we are meeting live again, the virtual portion is not going to go away. It's going to be, everything's going to be hybrid. We're going to have, I think people are going to really see when they do pull the trigger on a virtual event that their attendance is actually probably, we've been seeing double to almost triple the attendee size. So why would you leave that on the table when you go live again? So having the ability to have your live portion of it, as well as stream that out to a virtual platform where remote attendees can experience it as well. I think it's going to just add value across the board for you and your sponsors and exhibitors and everything like that. So it was tough. We furloughed a bunch of our employees, and as of a month ago, you know, I was in Atlanta last week. We're going to Salt Lake City this week. We'll be in Louisville the following week, and then back in Atlanta at the beginning of September. So it was a quick transition and a lot of learning and a lot of adjusting. It was almost like we were in an R&D company, but it worked out, and we're starting to be able to bring back our employees, and I think it's looking really positive. And I think something that was really tough to take at first because everything was gone and off the table to where we are now. I think it sheds a pretty bright light on where the industry is going and how much everyone is willing to put in to stay positive and keep everything moving forward. So.
Thank you so much, Nathan. I really appreciate that. I see Michelle Hardy is on the call here as well. Michelle, I know you've been down in Florida, right? Do you want to share with us about how the event platform, what's new up there in terms to see, given that now you guys are going backwards in the reopening?
So we're not backwards in reopening. I know there's been some spike, and we never hit our peak, but we are hitting our peak now.
Okay, thank you.
We are meeting right now at 50% of capacities. So yeah, but I mean, I think the bigger thing is until everybody's open, it's difficult to do the meetings, but we are doing face-to-face meetings. Everything has a piece of hybrid, so we're doing in-person and digital, and so it's been really successful doing the programs like that. So it's just been making sure that you're following all the guidance that's provided. Every state, federal, state, and local regions have their own guidance, and so following those, but not only those in the place where you're actually meeting, but you have to consider where your participants are coming from. So mine are coming all across the country. So it's just, you know, managing, it's not just planning a meeting anymore. Not that we were ever just planning meetings, but some people looked at it like that, like you can give a meeting to anybody. It's now a little bit more challenging than we had it before, because you really have to pay attention to the guidelines that aren't just happening in the city you're going to, but in all the cities where your participants are coming from. But we've been able to get really creative about that. And in cities where they have like, you know, travel, where you can't travel without quarantine, we make that a virtual area, and we may create a little hub there where we have a hotel where we broadcast out from that property, but we still have our main meeting. So there's a lot of opportunity out there to think outside the box about the way we're having meetings.
Sounds good. Thank you so much for sharing that with us. I know you were on a call with us on our social hour, and we talked about how you were approaching that, and just wanted to get that update from you as well. Thank you so much. Tina Marie?
Yeah, so I'm just wanted to just quickly comment. I'm getting the consensus of what everyone is kind of speaking on, is all of these challenges have created all of these great opportunities to just thrive in a different direction and kind of get the creative juices going. So I just want to encourage you all to just not feel stagnant just because we're in this current moment. There's always an opportunity to come out in a different manner. So just a little 2 cents. But also one thing that was presented on our responses were some concerns with the guidelines and safeties of the attendees as well as our staff. And so actually we have Jonathan here from Elite Services, who has some insight on that and some awesome feedback to give to us. So I have another quick slideshow. Great. So Jonathan actually started his hospitality career with the award-winning San Diego Convention Center back in 2007. And then he later served as a global third-party meeting planner with Meetings Global and JL Hospitality. Jonathan has traveled to 32 countries, originally from Buenos Aires, Argentina, and speaks fluent Spanish. So, hola. Bienvenidos. Jonathan graduated cum laude from UCSD in 2002, earned his MBA degree from SDSU in 2010, and he's lived in San Diego for over 30 years and loves America's finest city, just as I do. So like I mentioned, Elite Services, they have pivoted and they are shifted, and they have some new offerings that I'm gonna go ahead and let Jonathan take the mic to present that.
Hi, Tina and everyone. Thank you so much for having me today. Yes, the interesting thing about Elite is that we're actually one of my preferred providers while I served the convention center. And so I was able to see them operationally perform, convention and trade show after trade show. Obviously, we all know with the current closings, the majority of the business that in the events world, from conventions to concerts to Padre games at Petco Park, all of that is on hold. And so one of the things that Elite has done over the past 5 years is branch out and really start positioning itself to service other industries as well. And so you can see in the slides that Tina presented that we are now servicing property management and healthcare and a number of other areas. Now, with that said, we are still very much focused on the meetings world. Tina, would you mind going to the back to slideshow and putting up the slide that has introducing Elite? I believe it's.
You can continue, Jonathan. She's going to go ahead and open that up just a second.
Perfect, perfect. And so one of the things I do want to share is, very impressive in the 25 years under original management. Most of you know the brand, but I was very intrigued by, we protected 200 million people in 4 million shifts, licensed over 40,000 guards. And then obviously training is a big component of what we do. We've trained over 60,000 employees in 2.5 million training hours. And so obviously the bread and butter of Elite has been security. And so you can see we provide our uniformed guards for all types of functions. But the other area that a lot of folks don't know about with Elite is that we also have a staffing service. And so primarily with hospitality, we are going in and seeing how we can be a resource as businesses are reopening, even by providing temporary or supplemental staff to augment existing teams. And now the main area that we have focused on, in addition to security and staffing, is we're seeing obviously that there's a need for social distancing and sanitation protocols. Tina, would you jump to the last slide for me? And so with social distancing and sanitation, I know you've heard some of our other speakers touch on this. You know, what we have done is essentially we are working hand in hand with what the Health and Human Services Agency and the County of San Diego are putting out. And I would encourage all of you, if you do want to learn more in terms of what they're putting out there, san diegocounty.gov, and you can actually click on the corona disease 2019. And once you click into it, it has a number of information, including the most recent public health order, that will show you really what types of businesses are open, what businesses are not open, and what are some of the triggers that, that our officials are utilizing in order to monitor activity. Now, us as a company, what we are trying to do is, as folks are building their reopening plans, we want to help them not only reopen, but stay open. And so the ways to do that is obviously by helping to enforce these protocols. And you can see on our list some of the items that we're seeing consistency in. Most facilities are needing folks to be temperature checked. They're needing all folks to be wearing a mask or face covering, or have access to a mask or face covering. All of you have heard the 6-foot minimum distancing, not just between folks, but also between folks in line, as well as workstations. One-way migration paths, that's very important as well. You know, before COVID, people could really wander around and walk throughout. Now it's very important that folks have, it's clear where they're walking in and how they're walking out. Signage, you know, we're all event professionals, the importance of signage for meetings and events. You can look at it that way now with health and safety. Every entrance and every public space where folks are coming in from the outside, it's critical for businesses to have their signage up, so that essentially the new rules of the road are clear. And because obviously there's going to be a lot of pushback and discomfort as we're channeling new waters. So the more information that's posted, and folks that are there to help really answer questions and troubleshoot, you know, that's what's most important. So as you can see in my conclusion, you know, we've gone essentially from being traditional security and monitoring facilities and homeless and, you know, these other aspects of traditional security, but now it's imperative, as obviously the business environment changes, that we change with it, and that we adjust, and that we're able to really service folks in the best way possible, and really be a partner and a leader in that.
Yeah, that's perfect. So we're going to share some information that you sent over. So if anyone has questions on the items that you presented here, I know some of these things I may have heard, but I haven't heard. And so it would be great to kind of share off to my company and any colleagues that may be in need of figuring out a plan and making sure to implement and all of that good stuff.
Absolutely. And if anyone has questions or want to further discuss sanitation protocol, please feel free to reach out to me. I'm here as a resource. I value the hospitality community greatly. So if I can help in any way, I'm more than happy to do so.
Awesome. Yeah, and we'll send over some resources. Like I mentioned, all of you attendees, we're keeping kind of like a laundry list of everything that's going on in our meeting today, and then we'll send it out to you, so you'll have a variety of companies that'll be able to help you get through this. All right, so we have that last question that's still kind of out there, which is, what assistance are you still looking for? And we're going to jump further into this at the next session that we have for this kind of recovery, the road to recovery. So like I said earlier, we won't have answers to everything. Like somebody said, we need a cure. I can't help you with that part, but there are some resources and things that we can try to help you out with for, oh, it's not going, there you go, for these responses that you had on your current needs. So advice on contracts, creative ways to reach out to clients. I know that was mentioned earlier. Ways to have more fun, because it is a difficult time right now. You don't want to just focus on the negative. We need to have some fun too. One of the main ones that I loved was staying connected with event pros and kind of networking like we are here today, because bouncing off ideas from one another and staying connected in this type of mindset is extremely important during this time. So let's see, I wanted to, should we open up for any questions or any other responses from folks?
Sure. Actually, let's go ahead and open up the floor. We have about 7 minutes available that we can do some questions. So if anybody has questions, we've been monitoring the chat, but I think we've responded to most of them. I think for me at the aquarium, there was a question about did guests have any issues with your following the protocols of wearing a mask, for example? So far, so good. I think it's important to start a conversation from a client to a guest and explaining to them, you know, if they don't want to wear a particular mask, there's other ways to protect themselves, like a face shield, a scarf, or so forth. So we've been really communicating on that aspect. I think we've also reopened our second restaurant here at the aquarium. It's called Shark Cafe. So that was a really interesting venture for us because obviously you have social distance and you don't have, you can't seat 300 people in one space anymore. And now it's all, you know, 6 to 9 feet, 12 feet, depending on how you do your setups. But we pulled it off and we started our new cafe in that space. Now, yesterday, as everybody heard, that zoos and museums and other sectors might be closing in 19 other counties except San Diego. And we are on the verge that if by the weekend of our numbers keep going up, potentially by Monday, we're closed. So an operation that you start up and all of a sudden 3 days you close, it's a really it's a lot of work that you have to put in. So I think it's going to go back to events too as we try to open. I know they said you can do events of 10 people or less on certain occasions, but I know Michael from Snake Oil, he has tried to do that on his venue, and it's very hard to do it. It's very hard, and the overheads are very high when doing small things. Yes, Michelle.
I just say, because I've done a couple smaller ad boards, and for food and beverage, we've done where before they were saying like no buffets. What we've been doing is touchless buffets, and so they have plexiglass in front. And you can rent the plexiglass, and we've also rented scanners for taking temperatures. So when the attendees walk in, it takes the temperature for us, and they're touchless. And so that's worked really well in having those meetings. And then the buffets, you have the attendant standing back behind with the mask and gloves, and then they just make the plate, and then they put the food at the very end. Set that out, and the attendee comes up and grabs it, and then each person's 6 feet back, and we're using decals on the floor that can be logoed. And so that's a great opportunity for sponsorship. And even the plexiglass can be logoed as an option. So those are some of the things that we're doing, some of the best practices that are on the top of my mind for what we're doing with that. And same with coffee service. And some of the hotels have now the touchless coffee service where you just put your cup up and it pours. But the ones that don't have that have the same idea where it's plexiglass, the person stands behind and serves it with some pre-served coffee and tea, especially for my larger like 700 people programs I'm doing, where you want to be able to move them faster and the individual doesn't do. So I thought I'd just share that on here. There's some great resources out there for doing these things now that weren't out there before.
Thank you. We appreciate that. I want to get in Amy I can never say your last name. It's like worse than mine, so I don't know. Amy, you.
Olkatekin, but yeah. Cool. Do you want me to jump in or?
Yeah, go ahead. I want you to give us an update too.
Sure. So we've been working on the reopening efforts for San Diego. So essentially what happened is we realized that, MPI, other groups can't really get involved so much on the lobbying front. So there's a small task force of about 4 of us who are, working on reopening what we're calling privately held social events. So we're talking things like small meetings, weddings, corporate, retreats, things of that nature. And so essentially, to keep it brief, we've developed the guidelines, sent them through the county reopening team, and had them approved by Dr. Wooten. And now they're sitting with the California Department of Public Health. We've also lobbied with Tony Atkins and Todd Gloria's offices. And really our goal is to get some guidelines for the different types of meetings and events. So that way, when we are able to relaunch, that the industry will be prepared. The state must issue the guidelines, and then it's up to the county whether they want to follow those guidelines or be more strict on those guidelines. And so we're also looking at, obviously, so we went to the County Board of Supervisors. They are pushing for expedited guidelines, but then this week happened where we, saw the uptick. So obviously now is not the right time. But what we are also doing is we're forming a 501c6 that we will then open up to raise some funds to lobby on the state level. So we'll hire lobbyists. We're working on with some legal as well. So that way they're going to be creating forms, templates that we can all use as business owners to make sure that our liability is limited in this case. So we'll keep everyone updated on that. But essentially the latest is nothing's happening before August 1st. Chances are we are going to hit those triggers to hit the state watch list. So we will likely be closing indoor everything in about 3 days.
Yeah, thank you so much, Amy. On behalf of everyone here on the call and our community, we really appreciate you and the team, Michael, and I can never pronounce his name either.
Yeah, so it's Michael from Snake Oil, Zoffer from Abby, and Amanda from Skybox.
Yeah, so we really appreciate all your hard work you have put in, and I know hours and hours in trying to get our us represented above.
For sure. What I'll do is I'll pop the guidelines into the chat as well, just if anyone wants to see it. The other thing real quick, and I know we got to move on, but is we're not limiting the amount of people in these guidelines. So what the county asked us to do is to be as evergreen as possible. I'm also on a committee with the San Diego Tourism Authority. So these are privately held events. Then we're working on other guidelines as well. So those will be forthcoming.
Thank you so much. We really appreciate that. We'll go ahead and definitely share that with us in the chat, and we'll definitely send that out to our community with an email with all the links and everything that everybody has shared with us. I want to say thank you on behalf of MPI, and I want to turn it over to Tina Marie. This is my last outgoing VP, so I just wanted to say thank you. Everyone has been very supportive through the years with MPI, so thank you so much, and I'll continue to support MPI as a mentor in the community. Tina.
Thank you, and thank you for your support as I transition into my position. It's been amazing. So that kind of concludes our session, our discussion for today. We do have, again, our Office of the President who wants to do some wrap-up notes. And then again, if you have anything you want to drop in the chat for us, even looking forward to our next session, if there's anything you want us to speak on or touch on, please do feel free to reach out in the chat, email me on LinkedIn, or whatever you want to do. We want to make sure we hear you and we're here for you. So, Spencer?
Thank you, Tina Marie, and thank you, Iwana, for a great meeting this afternoon. It was great to have all those inputs. Margie and Jonathan and Peyton, thank you for the photo booth. I hope everybody's taking advantage of that. Again, thank you to the sponsors and everybody. Keep in touch with us via email and on social media. If you're not already following our social media channels, make sure that you do that. That's a great way to stay in touch with us, and that way you'll know about our next meeting, which again is July 21st. We're going to talk more about digital and virtual and all those things. We're going to get more in detail, so that's going to be something you don't want to miss as we all start to move into what next year is going to look like. So make sure you're here, and Tina Marie, back to you. Thank you.
Wonderful. Well, with 6 minutes to spare, we can have a dance party if we wanted to. Yeah, anybody have anything that they want to cover? Otherwise, we're good here. We're going to jump into our holiday weekend. Hopefully you all have extended holiday weekends.
Carrie.
Yeah. Hi. We have a special guest from MPI here, international. We have Tracy Judge joining our meeting today. She's on the International Board of Directors.
Welcome, Tracy.
So I'd love to get some comments on what we've all been keeping up with what Global's been doing to help us and support us. So I'd love to, hear from somebody on the board.
Sure. Hi, everyone. Thanks for having me today. I'm Tracy Judge. I am the founder of Soundings Connect, and I am your International Board of Directors liaison. My role on the board is to support the independent and small business community. So we have a lot of that in San Diego. And if there's anything you need from that front, please feel free to reach out to me. I'll put my email in the chat. It's a hard time for all of us in this business, small business and independents. We deal with different types of challenges as well. So feel free to reach out. I want to thank everybody who served on the 2019 and 2020 board. It ended in a way that I'm sure none of you could have predicted. And I know it has been a challenge, and on top of your day jobs also changing, that trying to guide MPI and this community has been hard. So thank you for your dedication to that, and to the 2020 and 2021 board. We have our work cut out for us. The road to recovery, it's going to be long, and we're figuring it out together. And I think most importantly, we need diversity of thought as we're solving a lot of these challenges that we're going to face. And we need people from all areas of our communities to come together and solve these. And it's been great listening to the conversations here. I think you're doing wonderful things already. So please, if you need anything, I'm here to support all of you. Again, I'll put my information in the chat. If you have any specific questions, feel free to ask them now.
I think we're probably going to be following up with some questions to you, Tracy, in the coming days.
Perfect. Yeah. Well, thank you, everyone, and have a good holiday.
Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you for being here.
You're welcome.
Well, thank you, everybody. Have a good holiday. We'll see you in a couple weeks.
Yep. Take care, everyone. Be safe.
Bye.
Thank you for coming.